Why is it important to silence fear? And how do you do it? There are times when fear is important. There are going to be moments when you no longer get to choose, where fear will be thrust on you. For instance, if I grabbed you and threw you out of an airplane, you're going to quickly learn whether you are fight, flight, or fawn. Now, that's something you don't get a choice in, but the more time you spend in an environment that requires fear, the more you can learn how your inclination to respond is, why sometimes it works, why sometimes it doesn't. You're going to be able to learn how to think. So I came from an environment as a kid that was really horrible and very abusive. So I don't, and perhaps I was naturally made a little in a way that doesn't have a lot of response. So I feel very comfortable in environments that are just complete chaos. But leaning into that and choosing activities where everything's beyond your control. You need to be calm, you need to be centered, you need to be observant, you need to be seeing reality on reality's terms. Otherwise, you die. Like rock climbing, mountaineering, parachuting, scuba diving, sailing, motorcycling, racing, bicycling, like there's horseback riding, hunting. There's so many. The key is not to squander your life, not to make trivial or not to value your life, but to spend times in environments where surviving requires all of your focus. Surviving requires all of your attention. By doing this, what happens is later, fools will try to get you to believe that things that aren't scary are. For instance, being yourself isn't scary, it's a requirement. If you're not honest, if you spend your time hiding and lying and distracting and diverting and deflecting, how do you ever expect somebody to get to know you? Like when you choose a life in servitude of fear, when you do all those things that I just listed out, you place yourself in a position where it's impossible for you to feel valued, understood, appreciated, loved. In fact, you're choosing a position so much so that if anybody ever felt a beautiful way about you, you would reject them. You will push them away because you haven't done the work internally. So, there was a beautiful author that made the argument, an American author, that made the argument to do that which you're afraid of. Meaning, don't waste your time playing pretend and rationalizing or playing pretend that the things that you fear has happened, and so you can feel your feels and somehow you're more prepared. That's not how it works. The more time, like let's say every time I drive a car, if I get frustrated and I get angry, every time I practice that response, I'm making it more likely that the next time I get in the car and I have that moment come to rise, I shall respond with anger, which might not be the right response. So the problem with anxiety, it's really just the habit of practicing fear because you've been running from it. So pick an activity, whatever activity suits you most, and lean into it. And I'd like to remind, like a beautiful example of that is Pixar has told some stories so perfectly, so beautifully. It's almost as though there was so much cooperative collaboration of brilliant people required for to just create mere seconds of a story, that the efficiency and the the leanness to which they created that story is just superb. And so I was sitting there going to fire up the movie Brave with three young girls. And their mom was worried that the youngest wasn't ready for it and that she would get scared. And I pointed out that all good stories have something scary. Just like all love, you can't love without a loss. That's not how the ride works. It's not part of it, right? Like appreciating a flower will cause you to at least briefly lament the passing of that cycle, right? Now, scientists argue that without flowers you don't get mammals and we're all descendants of fungus, but that's a thought experiment for a different day. Let me just finish up with those three young girls and the movie Brave. So I argued that they should come together and remember it's just a movie, and they all chose to climb up on my lap. And we watched the movie. And as it came into the scary part, I leaned down and I whispered in my youngest daughter's ear, remember, it's just a movie. And if it is too intense, you can close your eyes. And my middle daughter said, yeah, but if you close your eyes, you'll make it worse. Which I thought was awesome. Because it's so true, right? Our imaginations can often fill in the unknown and make it worse. And so then, at the end of the movie, we would do movie night once a week. And they would get a big bowl of popcorn, one for them and one to take to anybody within 5-minute walking distance that they'd like to share with. Go. And then come back and we'd watch the movie. And then afterwards, we'd sit and talk about what do we see, like what do we think of it, what do we feel. And my youngest daughter said, can you teach me how to shoot a bear in the face with an arrow? That was how she chose to respond to fear, to lean straight into it. And I said, no, but I can teach you how to be calm so that the bear can present itself standing straight up, and it will look into the sky with its roar, and it would provide you a window to take a shot. But you can't kill a bear with an arrow by shooting it in the head. It's not a choice, love. But yeah, let's start learning. Lean into your fear. You're going to spend an awful lot of time with yourself. The more you free yourself from fears, the more you're able to express love and be free. Know your love. Thanks for your time.